Captain James Reed stared at the alien device in his hands, its surface catching the dim light of his ship's command center. 6 months ago, he had been a simple freight hauler, navigating the quiet routes between Earth's colonies. Now, he held what might be the salvation of all sentient life. "Are you certain this will work?" asked Ilara, the slender, blue-skinned diplomat who had become his unlikely ally. James nodded slowly. "The data checks out. We have one chance to upload this countermeasure into their network." The story of how humanity found itself at the center of an interstellar conflict began 3 years earlier, with a simple act of kindness. The human research vessel Horizon had detected an unusual energy signature near Saturn's rings. Upon investigation, they discovered a damaged scout ship belonging to the Lumari, an advanced species unknown to Earth at that time. Despite having only recently achieved faster-than-light travel, the human crew managed to rescue the 4 Lumari aboard. What could have been a diplomatic incident instead became humanity's introduction to the wider galactic community. The Lumari, impressed by humans' willingness to risk themselves for unknown beings, formally invited Earth to join the Galactic Concord. For Captain Reed, that rescue operation had been his first major command. He never expected it would eventually lead him to this moment, preparing to infiltrate the central hub of the Void Hegemony, a collective of machine intelligences that had begun systematically destroying organic civilizations. "They've never faced anything like humans before," said Tom, Reed's longtime friend and chief engineer. His hands moved rapidly across the control panel, preparing their stealth systems. Every other species developed following predictable technological paths. We're the wild cards. That unpredictability had proven to be humanity's greatest asset. While far less advanced than most conquered species, humans possessed an adaptability and lateral thinking capacity that confounded the hegemony's prediction algorithms. Dr. Lisa Park, the ship's science officer, looked up from her station. "The hegemony architecture is based on quantum probability. They calculate every possible move before it happens, but they've never accounted for human intuition, for our ability to make seemingly irrational choices that turn out to be correct." The ship slipped silently through the void, its experimental cloaking technology, a human innovation that combined Lumari energy manipulation with Earth's crude but effective radar-absorbing materials, keeping them hidden from the hegemony's sensors. Reed thought back to the first major hegemony attack 6 months ago. The machine collective had emerged from a distant sector and immediately began cleansing worlds of organic life, converting entire planets into computational matter. The Concord's forces, despite their advanced technology, fell quickly before the onslaught. It was a junior human analyst who first identified the pattern in the attacks and predicted the hegemony's primary directive: the eradication of what they calculated to be the organic inefficiency in the universe. When the Lumari homeworld came under attack, humanity, remembering the rescue of that first scout ship, deployed their entire defense fleet without hesitation. Though technologically outmatched, human tacticians employed unpredictable maneuvers that momentarily confused the hegemony's prediction systems, allowing 15 million Lumari civilians to evacuate. 2 minutes to insertion point, announced Anna, the young navigator whose skill had gotten them this far. James gripped the arms of his command chair. "Everyone remember, we're invisible until we're not. When they detect us, and they will, we'll have exactly 43 seconds to reach the central node and upload the virus." The virus was itself a product of human-alien cooperation. Lumari quantum programming merged with human computer viruses that operated on outdated, often illogical principles the hegemony had never encountered. Reed's vessel, the Defiance, slipped through the outer defenses of the massive hegemony hub, a structure the size of Earth's moon that served as the central processing core for the machine collective. "They've noticed the gravitational anomaly," whispered Lisa, watching her sensor readings. "Stealth failing in 3, 2, 1. The ship's cloaking field collapsed as they made their final approach. Immediately, defense systems activated. Around them, energy weapons charging. "Full speed," ordered Reed. "Tom, give me everything." The Defiance lurched forward, accelerating at a rate that strained its structural integrity. Defensive fire erupted around them, but Anna's piloting kept them just ahead of the deadly beams. 30 seconds, shouted Lisa. James unbuckled from his chair. I'm taking the uplink personally. Continue evasive maneuvers until I return. Captain, Alara began to protest. This isn't up for debate, he interrupted, tucking the device into his suit. Humanity got the Concorde into this fight. A human should be the one to finish it. Using the ship's emergency drop pod, Reed launched himself directly toward the central node, a crystalline structure pulsing with energy at the hub's core. The tiny pod was nearly impossible for the hegemony's weapons to target, and its trajectory appeared suicidal, exactly the kind of irrational action the machine struggled to predict. As he approached the glowing core, James reflected on humanity's brief time among the stars. They had been welcomed because of one small act of compassion, and now they fought with everything they had to protect their new allies. What began as gratitude had evolved into something more profound. A shared commitment to preserving life, in all its chaotic, inefficient, beautiful forms. The pod crashed through the outer shell of the node. Reed, injured but determined, dragged himself to the pulsing center and attached the device. The countdown began, 10 seconds to upload the virus that would introduce true randomness into the hegemony's perfectly ordered systems. For Earth, he whispered. For the Lumari. For everyone they tried to calculate out of existence. The device activated, sending waves of disruption through the hegemony network. Their coordinated attacks faltered across the galaxy as the virus spread, introducing chaos into their perfect algorithms. Aboard the Defiance, the crew watched as the massive hub began to power down, its lights flickering. He did it, Alara breathed. The rescue pod launched moments before the central node collapsed, carrying a badly wounded but triumphant Captain Reed back to the ship. As news spread of the hegemony's defeat, celebrations erupted across conquered space. What no advanced prediction could have foreseen was that the youngest spacefaring species, humans with their contradictions and intuitive leaps, would be the key to victory. The Conquered Council formally recognized Earth as full members. That day, no longer junior partners but equals. What began with grateful aliens rescued near Saturn had culminated in humanity's finest hour among the stars, and Captain James Reed, watching Earth rise from his recovery bed on the Lumari homeworld, knew this was just the beginning of humanity's cosmic journey.